You get what you pay for. So you got to be careful. So I ended up buying from Super Springs directly, which is made in USA, the original manufacturer.
I thought you were going to go Sumo Springs. You went Super Springs.
Oh, Sumo bump stops are made by Super Springs.
Oh, copy. Okay.
Sorry.
Interesting. So it's hard to imagine foam being that dense. I don't think I've seen foam that is dense, but also bouncy, I guess. I don't know, for lack of a term.
Exactly. So when I got them, I was like, no way. You know, you kind of get it and you're like, this isn't going to work. Come on. It works really well.
Wow.
So.
Okay. You have tuned in to Remote Trails Radio, where your hosts, Garrick and Melody, take you off the beaten path into the world of overlanding, life in the Pacific Northwest, and whatever the heck else we feel like chatting about. So grab a drink, settle in, and let's hit the trails together.
Welcome, everyone, over on the other side of the radio. I'm Melody.
And I'm Garrick.
And this is Remote Trails Radio. Thanks for joining us. We're getting some better weather and heading on into summer now. Garrick is just back from Capitol Reef in Utah, so I get to try and pry a little bit of information about that from him on this episode. More later. We've both been modding, so I've been modding the 4Runner and he's been modding his Honda Dual Sport. And surprisingly, we both have happier butts with the mods that we've made. So that is
priorities.
Yeah. Garrick is prepping for doing the ORBDR on his Dual Sport. And then we have both done Shakedown runs recently. Garrick did Beckler River on his bike. And then I did the Leavenworth Plain area in the 4Runner. And what we are missing or loving while we did that.
Yeah. All right. Let's get into it.
Well, welcome back, Garrick.
Thanks.
Nice to have you back from the sunny state of Utah.
Yeah, does it look like I have a suntan at all? Because I was under a lot of sun the entire time.
You have the moderately pink look on your cheeks, but it does not look like you spent much time in the sun.
Okay, I did have a hat on the entire time and used a lot of sunblock, so that means success.
Good job.
Thanks.
You'll be a poster child for dermatologists nationwide.
Well,
good on you.
Yeah, it's not entirely joking. We're laughing, but it's not a joking matter. My grandpa had skin cancer, so it's real. Definitely wear sunblock. You know, it's
yes.
Bring it with you at all times and put it on more often than you think you have to. It's important.
Oh boy.
I know. 5 kill.
That's serious. It's serious though. I mean, there are some serious consequences. That's why we do these things, right?
It's really hard to be serious with you wearing those glasses though. Melody's got her protective eyewear on.
Always use protective eyewear. You know what's funny is that I bring this protective eyewear when I do my build. And then when I get to the hard parts, I take off the glasses and I put them on my head. And then I forget about them.
Are they not
so
clear
I would
enough
say
or something?
Probably 80% of the work done on my car is without glasses, maybe. Just because you forget. And then you're like, oh, wait, this seems dangerous. Maybe I should put them down.
Yeah. Mine always get fogged up. I don't know. I need some version that becomes less foggy somehow.
Oh, well, the ones I'm wearing, these are the fancy ones from Home Depot. I want to say they were like $8. And they kind of go all the way around. Funny enough, though, when cutting plastic with a Dremel, like one of those Dremel discs, the plastic can actually get up and under these glasses that look like they're covering my whole face. And it burns a lot. So
yeah,
I would recommend goggles maybe if you're doing that specifically.
Well,
but yeah,
so you came back. One.
Yep. So you're back from Utah. You guys were down there for a week and change, or?
Well, it was 2 travel days down, 5 trail days, and then 2 travel days back. So 9 days in total, if you include the highway time.
Okay. And then you were right back to work today, right?
Sure did, yep. With mixed results.
Oh, man, rough.
Yeah. At least the nice thing about coming from the West Coast is that we gain an hour coming back, so it's not quite as bad. So it feels like an hour later for me, technically. But where
did you guys stop along the way? Did you do one sleepover, or did you go all the way? without stopping?
No, my motor crew likes to go hard all the way down to Utah. But for this
Whoa.
one, I found a hip camp midway, pretty close to Boise, like maybe like half
Okay.
hour out of Boise.
Okay.
Yeah, it was actually kind of a nice little hip camp. It was on a ranch, and they have this pond in the back of their ranch. And around the pond, they have 4 different sites essentially that they rent out. And the pond is stocked with fish, which is pretty fun. So I actually did some fishing at this pond and caught some fish on the way down. So that was cool.
Wow.
And yeah, it was just really nice to have a place that was set for us and we didn't have to worry about, because I like dispersed camping a lot, but I also don't like driving 8 hours and having to try to find a site while the sun's going down. So
that can get frustrating real quick.
And the nice thing with this one is it was pretty affordable. I compared it to like the Idaho State Parks. Idaho State Parks wanted like $50 for a site, and then they wanted additional, and then they had some additional park fees, right? And then they had some out of state resident fee, and then they wanted $14 per vehicle fee.
No.
This is like, whereas this was, I think, $45 per site. Then there was some taxes on top of that, but I think in total it ended up being about $50 for each site, and that's for 5 rigs, right? So it was just a lot cheaper this way around, which was nice.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
Oh, good on you. You'll have to link it for us so that we can give them some shout out if it was good.
Yeah, Kegel Cove, but also I'll link that for sure.
I was going to say, unless you want to keep it a secret.
It was kind of nice because I had booked 2 sites for the way down, because it was maximum of 3 rigs per site. And so we had 5 people. But then Demetre definitely was not coming back with us. And then Doug wasn't sure if he was coming back with us. Doug was thinking he might go along with Demetre to Moab. So I'd only booked 1 site for the return trip. But then Doug changed his plan around and decided to go back with us. So thankfully, I was able to get a second site like the day before. So it worked out. And we didn't have to send Doug off to go hunting for a spot somewhere.
You're on your own.
Yeah.
I did see that Demetre was rock crawling on his own in my Instagram feed today. So what's that about? What'd you guys do?
Yeah, doing poison spider.
Yeah.
No, this is always his plan. He's like, well, if I'm all the way down there, I'm going to take an extra couple days and do Moab. So that's what he wanted to do. And if he can do it, like, I can't discount that. That's awesome for sure.
Yeah, that's great. Nice. Not bad. Okay. Well, you guys went down to Capitol Reef, and then you're thinking maybe you'll talk about this more next episode.
Yeah. Speaking of Demetre, I'm hoping to have him on for our next episode and we can go into depth about the trip. But yeah, just the overall, it was great. We didn't really experience too much bad weather. I think day 2 we experienced a little bit of rain. It was kind of funny though, because the rain in Utah, at least this time of year, it's just sort of, it's not super heavy and it seems to move really fast. So it'll come through and it'll rain a bit, and maybe it'll be like heavy rain for a minute and then it moves on and lets out. But it seemed like on Tuesday, every time we got out of the car, the rain started coming down like hard. It's a couple minute process. So I don't know. We felt like we were being followed by the rain. A lot of people also thought that was their favorite trail day. So it didn't ruin the day for us. So yeah, it worked out.
Nice.
But,
well,
yeah, no, it was
glad
great
to hear that maybe all of you have come back in one piece. So that's good.
Yeah, no, it was excellent. OTG, their main route is fantastic. I will have some comments on their side trips that are on there. One of them is very problematic in my opinion, but the main route is top tier as far as the OTG stuff that I've done.
Overland Trail Guides, is that consumer fed or is it public fed, or they are actually making those routes on their page?
That's a good question. I don't believe it's consumer. I believe this is all sort of editorially created by them. They might have subcontractors perhaps, but it's not like Trails Offroad, which is more like they have a lot of individual contributors out there.
Okay.
But yeah, no, they've run all the routes and they've done videos for most of them as well. So it's pretty professional stuff. But there's one of these trails where we don't know if they actually ran it or not for the side trips.
Oh, on another note, and people who are like kind of signed up to Overlandy things on social media may have seen this, but ONX Offroad just started location sharing services, which is fantastic. I didn't think this was going to be as useful as it was, but I was able to use that last weekend, and it's pretty dang awesome. I think the only drawback for me is that you do have to have service.
Yeah, so we all just need to hook up our Starlinks and...
So it's good for meeting up. If you're meeting up from a bunch of different places, we live all over, and then we're all trying to meet at a central location before we head out. And you don't want to start off missing somebody. And that way, that's kind of nice. But yeah, we all need our Starlinks hooked up so that if we do split up, we know where each other's at, and then you can see their coordinates and everything.
Yeah, I can see that being useful.
Yeah. Anyway.
I assume everybody needs a ONX subscription for that to work, or
no, it's on the free version of ONX Offroad. Because cool. I'm not signed up to ONX Offroad.
That's cool. Yeah. I think I talked to us in the last episode that I had a lot of issues with both my mapping apps, and ONX had this one where it didn't want to import the Capitol Reef route as a folder for some reason, and then it like made 7 versions of everything. So
oh god,
it's good to hear that there's something out there that works. Because I was having challenges with Gaia and ONX.
I may not have the same issue as you because I use ONX Hunt and I just use it differently. So I don't, can't have one.
Importing
you can't have everything. You got to have one of them. Yeah, it shouldn't be that crazy.
It could be something that definitely works, but I don't know. Maybe
right.
Something particular file. Who knows? Anyways, look forward to episode 45 to hear more about that trip. We'll go into depth about it.
Definitely.
How about you, Melody? What have you been up to lately?
Oh, I've been just in build mode. I know I'm always like, because sometimes building is frustrating, but it's fun. I'm trying to get ready for the summer, and I did say many times that I was done with my build. I was very happy with it, but there just seems to be, I don't know, something new every other day that I'm like, you know what? I really like to have that when I take it out this summer, because I feel like summer is just very different than winter, and I'm just not ready. So yeah, I've been making little
you're not ready
plans
for summer,
and
or
adjustments
your rig's not,
here and there.
You're not ready for summer, or like your rig? Okay.
I'm ready. I think the rig's not ready, and it's all about comfort too. So I think the rig's fine. It's just that I want to be more comfortable. And what does that mean? So, and especially after getting this new battery, because my car got broken into, there's a lot of things that I want to do with this in order to keep it charged. So there's other things I've been thinking about as well. But yeah, I would say probably the largest thing I did was that I swapped out my bump stops. So I used to have Duro bumps. I would say the hardest thing about installing bump stops on the 5th Gen 4Runner is the initial removal. Taking off the existing OEM bump stops is really hard. And then after you get that off, then you put Duro bumps on. That's really easy to install. And then I got Sumo bumps, because Duro bumps is made of rubber, Sumo bumps is made of foam. And, you know, James is a huge fan of Sumo bump stops. He's been talking about that for a while. They're made by Super Springs. And honestly,
I was wondering about this. Aren't Duro bumps made of silicone? I thought they were silicone for some reason.
Oh, I thought they were rubber, but that's a good...
Because wasn't there a joke about how the manufacturer also designs something else that's made out of silicone that...
Adult toys.
Yeah. I wasn't going to just say it, but yeah. There we are.
There we are. I mean, these are all adult toys, I guess, that we're getting. Duro bumps are manufactured from premium grade dual durometer rubber.
Oh, it is rubber. Okay. Well, there you go.
Yeah. Okay. Alrighty. Maybe silicone is the more modern way, Garrick. I don't know. But it is rubber. And
when you go to a special store, always ask for the dual durometer.
Dual durometer. But yeah, installing them, because it's slightly different than the Duro bumps, I felt like the install was pretty straightforward, but then I had questions. So of course I'm texting James, like, James, is it okay for it to be off center when it hits the axle? And, you know, asking him, what about the Amazon ones? They're like a fifth of the price. And he was saying, well, it's not proprietary. That foam, anyone could make it. But he's still like, you know, if you're buying from Amazon, you get what you pay for. So you got to be careful. So I ended up buying from Super Springs directly, which is made in USA, the original manufacturer.
I thought you were going to go Sumo Springs. You went Super Springs.
Oh, Sumo bump stops are made by Super Springs.
Oh, copy. Okay.
Sorry.
Interesting. So it's hard to imagine foam being that dense. I don't think I've seen foam that is dense, but also bouncy, I guess. I don't know, for lack of a term.
Exactly. So when I got them, I was like, no way. You know, you kind of get it and you're like, this isn't going to work. Come on. It works really well.
Wow.
So I would have to say that when you're ordering from the online website, it's interesting because Super Springs only lists that the rear ones are available, which is really a bummer, because they just missed putting the front ones on there. So if you look it up by manufacturer item code, like the item number, it comes up and it is okay for 5th gen 4Runners. So I had to buy them separately, unfortunately, because I didn't realize that they had hit them somewhere else. So the fronts, you only get one weight category, and then the rears, you have 2 weight categories. I got the heavier one because I'm riding with a lot of steel, and sometimes in the summer I'm riding with a lot of gear. It's really heavy.
Sure.
So, yeah, put those on. And next to Open Bay Garage, there's one parking lot that is pretty empty on weekends, and they have a lot of speed bumps in the parking lot.
Oh, excellent test ground then.
That was the best testing ground because I was just driving at full speed inside the parking lot trying to get over these speed bumps and trying to hit it as hard as I could. I also was trying to mark it to see where it was sitting on the axle as well. And man, it doesn't make it perfect, but it definitely helps a lot.
Wow.
Yeah, very impressed with these
I hit
guys.
a lot of washboard in the last week, so I can definitely appreciate that.
Right?
A lot of washboard, yeah.
There you go. Yeah, that would have made it a little bit, tiny bit better. But I would say it is an expensive mod. It ended up being over double the price of the Durabumps that I bought.
Okay, sure.
8 years ago. The Durabumps are the same price as Sumo Springs now.
Okay.
So no matter what you do, it's just it's expensive. I think it's $550 for everything. So
maybe you could resell your Durabumps.
Maybe. If anybody wants them, they're perfectly fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what I've been doing. And then since I was taking the wheels on and off so many times because I had to go to the garage 2 separate times, I found out that our lovely friends at Discount Tire stripped some threads on the lug bolts on one of my wheels.
So annoying.
And they kindly retapped it for me at the garage, which was awesome. Yeah. But then he was like, these are aluminum third-party lug nuts. You should really just replace them all. I was like, okay. So I bought a whole new set and then went back and put them all on. So
that was new bolts that you got then?
New lug nuts. The bolts we just retapped.
So the nuts were okay. Got it. So you retapped the bolts and then replaced the lug nuts. Got it. Okay.
Yeah. Because they were going on, they weren't going on correctly. So
yeah.
Actually,
having a tap set, they're not terribly expensive and they're actually very handy because there's been a few times where I got something like cross-threaded and then was super annoyed. But then now that I have tap sets, it's fine, whatever. Like I'll just fix it with the tap set and I'm all good. That happens specifically on a lot of my motorcycle because the motorcycle gets dropped a lot and things get hit at weird angles and then suddenly bolt gets bent and that gets screwed up. But tap set, no problem, fixed. So yeah.
Wow, nice.
Big fan of those. Absolutely. Good thing to have in the kit.
Yeah. Okay. So you are going to be preparing for summer trips, and one of the big ones for you is going to be the ORBDR, right?
Yes. I'd hoped to have Zach as a guest today, but he had something come up. So I'm going to have to talk about our trip ourselves. But we did a shakedown run for ORBDR.
Okay.
We're going to be doing that in middle of July. And this is going to be a similar deal similar as the Utah, where we're going to do 2 days getting down to the start of the ORBDR, which is on the California border. And then we're going to spend 5 days taking the route, which is like 860 some miles, and then spend the last weekend getting back to home, essentially. So in preparation for that, we had ordered some new gear and whatnot, and we wanted to go test it out. And we figured the easiest way to do it would be to just ride out to the Skykomish Beckler River area, because it's an area I knew pretty well, and it's not terribly bad for traffic. It's just one highway on 2 that you're taking the entire way. So it's pretty chill. And I know there's a lot of dispersed sites there, so you can kind of show up and know that you're getting a site, especially in motorcycles since we're so small, right? So it's like we can fit in a lot of tighter spaces. But yeah. So yeah, I'll just kind of talk about what some of the stuff was. Specifically, we both bought these. They're called Scrambler racks. It's from a company called Green Chili Adventure Gear. They specialize in motorcycle luggage. And I say that with an inflection because it's basically just straps.
What?
So, yeah, the Scrambler rack is just a strap that you attach onto the seat of your motorcycle, and then it sort of straps around the frame. And then those straps just have a bunch of tie down points, essentially. So then you can just strap things to those straps. So I have.
Oh my gosh, it's like a motorcycle molly.
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
Okay.
Perfectly stated. Yeah. So I have their Scrambler rack, and then I bought 2 20-liter dry bags, and then I just like have straps going around those dry bags, just holding them up against my motorcycle.
Okay.
And it's relatively cheap compared to motorcycle luggage, because motorcycling is such a niche hobby, especially motorcycle touring and camping and all that. Luggage now costs usually anywhere from $600 to $1,000 for a set of motorcycle bags.
Whoa.
But with this green chili gear, I bought everything. I bought the scrambler rack, I bought the extra straps, I bought the dry bags. Then it cost me under $200 for the whole setup. And that 40 liters is actually pretty comparable to a lot of stuff that costs 3 times as much. Then Zach bought the same scrambler rack, but he didn't buy anything else from them. He already had some other bags from a whole other company called Kriega. He was able to attach all of his Kriega bags to the scrambler rack just because it's universal and it's just tie down. It's Molly points, like you said. So yeah, it was pretty cool because it was just so flexible and it's so minimal. It's very lightweight, which is exactly what you want for a motorcycle setup.
I feel like you're going to have to maybe put some kind of picture on our Instagram so that I can see what you're talking about if you haven't already.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I kind of want to know what this looks like. I obviously can see the product. It looks like a bikini for your bike with some Molly straps. But then
interesting. That's not how I would describe it, but that's your Rorschach chest result, and that's what
you can put some dollar bills under there. But yeah, I was kind of like, what does it look like with everything on though? Does it sag, or it has enough tension where it doesn't sag?
No, it's got enough tension. The straps that I bought specifically are for the side bags. They're called snake straps or something like that. Snake bag kit, I think it was called. But it's a series of elastic parts and then also a D-ring, so the D-ring can hold it in, and then additional parts where you could strap it around and kind of make a, I don't know, how would you call it, like a Z across a dry bag. So you have a lot of stability because of just how many times it's looping over the dry bag.
Okay.
But yeah, I think I'll have to post it to Instagram because it's really hard to describe. But once you see it, you're like, oh, I get it. I get
it. Also, thinking about pictures on Instagram, I do have some pictures of the Sumos versus the Durabums that I can send you as well.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll post that for sure. But to give you a good example of just how flexible that is, we rode out to Skycombe, which was like about 90 minutes from my house. And then we found an awesome campsite that I've camped at before. And I couldn't believe we just rolled in on Saturday night and were able to grab it, which was crazy, but we did. Then it was only 10 minutes away from Skycombe. So after I took off all my stuff and set up my tent and all that, I rode back to Skycombe, bought some firewood, and then attached it to my motorcycle using the green chili setup. So you can really attach anything to it, which is pretty cool. Yeah.
That's awesome. We're taking a break. It's Melody jumping in to say we're hanging out on Instagram if you want to keep up with the Overland nonsense. And if you're on Apple, Amazon Music, or Spotify, go ahead and download the episode so you don't lose us. All right, back to it.
But yeah, so in addition to just it being a shakedown run, we had those big floods back in the fall, and the Skycombe River was one of the rivers that went crazy high. And it's really kind of a bummer because when I first started doing the overlanding thing back in 2020, this area is one of the first places I went to, this Beckler River area. And there's this big loop that goes from Index, and you go north and you follow Skycombe River, takes you to Jack Pass, and then goes back down into Skycombe. And it's a really cool loop. But there was a part of the river where there used to be a bridge. This is back in 2020, and that bridge was washed out. I don't remember when. I think it was like from 2016. So there was like no bridge for 4 years. And they finally put up a new bridge like a year ago. So finally that full loop was back again. And then now a different bridge just washed out this year. So I was like, it only lasted for a year, and then it's back to not being accessible from both sides. Yeah. Real bummer. But we went to go check it out because we're like, oh, okay, cool. We can check out this washed out bridge. They had put up a bunch of boulders so cars couldn't drive down there because it would be really dangerous if you don't know that the bridge is washed out, because it's not actually super easy to see once you're coming up on the bridge. But you kind of come up this ramp, and then there's the bridge, but then there's also 3 feet of just nothing in between the ramp and the bridge. So if you just were going kind of fast and not paying a lot of attention, it would just be like, ah!
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
But yeah. And then after that, we went and rode up to the Evergreen Mountain Lookout. We had hoped that maybe there wouldn't be snow, but there was totally snow. So we did not.
Still?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so we didn't do a repeat of what you did on the North Mountain because we didn't really have hiking gear or anything like that. But it was kind of cool to see the snow. It was like probably the last remnants of snow for the season at this point. So
yeah,
yeah.
Novel. I mean, I didn't see much snow this winter, so that was that was probably the most snow I saw.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And then other than that, it was pretty chill for the most part, except for the very end when I was coming back. I was driving on Beckler River Road and I was going around a corner and adjust my speed based off what I can see. But there was a car that was like parked right around a blind corner in the most horrible spot. And I think it has flashers on, so it must have just died right there in just the worst place possible.
Oh, wow.
But thankfully, I was like paying attention and whatnot, so I was able to veer out of the way. The thing is, thank God it's not a very busy road, because if it was a busy road, there could have been a car coming the opposite direction, right? And then I would have been screwed. Yeah.
Right.
So that was terrifying.
Oh my gosh.
And definitely shook me up for a bit, but yeah.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Oof. It's always nice to have some of those kits where you can actually put some reflectors behind the car some ways, so you can kind of give people a little bit of heads up there's something there around the corner.
Absolutely.
Ooh, like flares.
Yeah, I have those in
mind.
That's a really good tip, Melody. Absolutely. That's a good thing to have, because you just don't know where your rig's going to break down, and it could be in a really dangerous spot like that. So anything you can do to protect yourself and other people should be done.
Yeah. Yikes. Well,
I think I heard you had your own shakedown.
I mean, kind of. So I'm an NWOR volunteer for the Northwest Overland Rally, which is happening in June. What dates do we have again for that? That is the 18th, 19th, 20th, and 21st, June 2026. So we went a month early, and it wasn't the full volunteer crew. It was just whoever could make it, us and our chainsaws, going out and driving along some of the roads that we're going to take. Some of the people who sign up at the rally, they're just free runs. And so we need to have leads and sweep for all of those runs, and they sell out. So I don't know how they're going to do the list this year, but when we were there 2 years ago, it was like they were full immediately. It's pretty crazy.
Right. Yeah. I don't think they shared the routes either, right? Because you just either was riding it or you don't know where that's going, right?
I think they went by level. So it was like if you felt like you were a beginner, then you would sign up as a beginner, intermediate. I think those are the two levels they have. And then they kind of get to decide where to go.
Okay.
They might do it differently this year, though.
Okay. Interesting.
They did talk about handing out meeting spots in advance along with possible tracks. But I don't know. And it takes somebody very organized to do that. So we'll see.
Yeah, that's fair. I've been there so many times for the Tour Tech motorcycle rally. So I'd be curious just to see how the NWR tracks compare to the Tour Tech motorcycle tracks.
Oh, interesting.
It's a lot of the same roads, I'm sure.
I'm sure it's a lot of the same roads. We did some really basic stuff that you and I have definitely done before many times. And we were just riding them to make sure that they were the level that we thought they were at, and to also clear any debris or trees that have happened since the winter. But we were way too late. Definitely some crews have been through there just chopping down trees and making sure the road's nice and flat. So
yeah, well, Shannon and I met one of them because it was like a side-by-side owner, because we were just over Plain a few weeks ago. And side-by-side stopped next to us. We were chatting with them, and they were saying that, the side-by-side owners in that area will just kind of go and do trail days, cleaning it up. So, yeah.
That's awesome.
People complain about side-by-sides, but they're pretty dang good trail ferries.
Well, I was very happy that whoever did clean these trails that we were on were actually chopping down the trees wide enough. Because sometimes when I go on trails that are frequented by Jeeps or side-by-sides, they do it just narrow enough to get their vehicle through.
Yep.
And then your vehicle might
it's the same amount of effort. You just have to go a little bit wider. It's the same freaking tree. It doesn't help to make it narrow.
I know. It's like they make these two cuts and they're like, oh, I'm tired. I don't want to do it anymore. But I have a wide vehicle, so I need it all the way. Yeah, it was really fun. And it was only 2 days. We were going to do 3, but we were kind of tired and didn't have to lift a single chainsaw. So that was good. I did have an incident happen, though, which wasn't a good incident. That was probably the most exciting thing on the trip.
Okay, well, color me intrigued. What happened?
Yuzu almost fixated herself because she has this long lead that I let her run around on because she's a puppy, so I can stomp on it if she's doing anything crazy.
And I know that scenario very well. Yeah.
Yeah, I have to take this leash. I have to take this leash off, and I put her in her basket, and then I connect her to the basket. Well, the thing is, if I don't take off the leash, what she does is she spins around and around looking at everything, and then she starts to weave it tighter and tighter, right? So we're on a cliff driving along in our convoy, quite slow, and she's kind of like, this isn't quite right. So I look over and I'm like, oh yeah, she's got herself wrapped up again. And I forgot to take the leash off. That's my fault. And so I was like, well, I can't get it off of her because she's really got it wrapped around pretty good. So how about I take what is it called on the harness? It's a quick release. I'll just open the quick release on the harness. Okay. And then maybe that'll give her a little bit more room to, kind of loosen this up. The buckle.
Okay.
Yeah, on the harness. Mm-hmm. So then that actually worked against me because that harness was protecting her from wrapping it too tight around her neck. And as soon as I released that buckle, she moved and it gripped her neck.
Oh, no.
And then I realized I'm putting my finger on her neck and I can't get my fingers underneath the leash. Tight. Yeah. And she is screaming. So I had to stop the car and radio to people that choking to death. I got to stop and take care of this. And then once I realized I couldn't fix it myself, I was like, okay, I got to get a knife. And then I realized, I don't know if I have a knife in the glove box because my car got broken into and I think everything got taken that I needed. Or maybe, I don't know, but I didn't want to spend any time looking for it. So I just, over the radio, I said, I need a knife right now. And in 2 seconds, Michelle had opened my door and she had a knife opened ready for me. She had run up to my car so fast. And so I was able to cut it off. I mean, it was hard because she was squirming so much that I didn't want to cut her at the same time.
Dang, that's scary.
I was able to get it off her and then, poor thing. Dang. It was bad. So then I had to clean up and everything. And that was pretty exciting. But lesson learned. That was completely my fault.
Yeah, well, I'm glad to hear that everybody's okay. But dang, that's scary.
And guess what Boba was doing? He was growling at me the whole time because I had to reach over him to get to her.
This is annoying, Mom. Stop saving you.
What are you doing? He literally could not be bothered. He was not concerned one little bit. My gosh, that guy. But so it was a really good shakedown. Yeah. What did you figure out from your shakedown besides having to work on the scramble racks and getting that perfected?
Yeah, actually quite a bit. One thing that's kind of universal for anybody who packs stuff in and out a lot is that things that you think are in your bags may not necessarily be there. So for me on this trip, I always have this moto camping toiletry kit. So I just grab it and throw it in. Don't think about it, right?
Right.
Well, that works some of the times, but then some of the times you show up to camp and realize there's not a toothbrush in there. So that was annoying. So that's my tip to listeners is just because you think something's in a box or a kit or whatever, you might want to give it a look over beforehand, just to make sure. Thankfully, toothbrush isn't the end of the world because we were down in Oregon and I realized that I could just buy it at a grocery store. But if it's something a little bit more critical, that could be not so great.
Well, on that note, so what I did, because I forgot a lot of things too, but I started making a list on my phone. So every time I was out of something, I put it on there because in the past I've been like, oh, I'll remember to re-up that when I get home.
No. Yeah, that's the way to go.
You don't remember anything. You're so dead. You're like, forget it. And you just put the whole thing away and you're like, oh, I'll deal with it later.
Yeah.
And then you're not going to go through every single little thing. So I was making a whole list of what do I want to bring on my next trip that I didn't bring. And one of them is simple, like more TP. But honestly, that's something I would forget if I didn't re-up it now.
Absolutely. Not only stuff to remember to get, but also to do. On the Utah trip, I had a few issues. For example, this is good for you to know. If you haven't hooked up your Charger 1 yet, I made a mistake in the way that I set it up. When I hooked it up to my battery, I hooked it up to the positive terminal. But then with the black grounding line, I set it to my chassis. Which that's what you do with everything, right? But that doesn't actually work.
Not the Charger 1.
Right.
Or Charger 2.
To do it, whichever one you have. You want that to be on both leads of the battery. And it even says bat plus bat minus on the actual cables. I don't know how I missed that.
If I hadn't seen the install video, I still would have done the ground as well.
Yeah, it's critical because what was happening for me is it kept tripping on me. So it would go for a little while and then the circuit breaker would trip. Thankfully, it's just a circuit breaker, not a fuse that I was replacing, but still it was annoying because I was like, hey, I only got like 3% and then this trip. And then I looked it up. I was like, oh, that's why. So
I noticed it doesn't come with an accessory cable for a switch. So do you have a breaker on yours too?
Yeah, the breaker came with the kit. So
so you use that to turn it off and on if you're not using it.
Yeah, that's what their manual says too, to just turn it off.
Okay.
It does have detection when you have it properly hooked up to your battery. It has detection to tell if your battery's getting low, and it doesn't run when the battery's low, which is very handy. Because I have the voltage juiced up as high as it will go, right? So you don't want it to like completely kill the battery.
Oh yeah, you have it on fast charge or something like that.
Well, I have 50. I think I have it set to 50 volts output right now. So yeah, the wattage I get out of it is over 500. But yeah, it does say, if you're not using it for a while, just turn off the circuit breaker. So there's no chance at all that the battery gets drained.
Okay.
I had a USB-C cable that came with my Bluetooth little speaker. And it was like a USB-C to USB-C cable. So I was like, cool. And I think this has come up a lot lately. Not all cables are made equal. And this was true with this one. And usually it's pack-in stuff, unless Apple pack-in cables are usually kind of garbage. It's just e-waste almost. So this one, it would happily charge my Bluetooth speaker. So it did do its intention because that's what it came with. But my iPhone was like, nope, I will not charge off this cable.
Wow. Yeah, I have a couple cables like that where my iPhone will not charge off of it.
Right. So for me, it's like I want a cable that works for everything. So I just don't have that cable anymore because that's kind of worthless. But that's something I could have tested at home beforehand, but I didn't. So I didn't realize it until I was there.
Well, similarly, I brought my thermocell because I can't live without it because of the bugs that eat me alive. However, my thermocell is so old that it uses the old charger technology. And
like micro USB, probably.
Yes, exactly. That's what it's called.
Yeah.
And so I got 1 day of use out of the thermocell, and I had to beg Michelle for a cord so that I could get another couple hours out of it. So that was a lesson learned for me, is bring more than just the USB-C, although I'm trying to move everything over to that.
Yeah, the day I finally get rid of my last USB micro device will be a happy day. One big one was, so my bike is a dual sport, which is, it basically looks like a dirt bike, but it's street legal. And it's designed for off-road riding, but the seat is not. Or at least, the seat is designed for off-road riding as well, but not so much for street riding. So I never notice when I'm like off-road riding because I'm like standing up and sitting down or whatnot. So it's pretty dynamic. But when you sit on the seat for more than 30 minutes, it gets really uncomfortable. And it's a problem because we're going to have to ride from the Washington-Oregon border down to the California-Oregon border. And that's going to be like 5 or 6 hours of riding, right? So if my butt's hurting after half an hour, that's just going to be painful and torture. So that was something I discovered, and I decided to mitigate that by ordering a custom seat for my motorcycle that is made by a company in Idaho, actually.
Okay.
Yeah. They actually make aftermarket seats that will just slot right into, my Honda. And the way it works is that it's actually kind of a wider platform because the way the Honda built it, it's a very narrow strip. And the idea is that you can move back and forth really easily. But for me, I can mostly just standing up or sitting down. I'm not really putting myself way back or way forward as much. So with them, they have it narrow right at the front. So when you're standing, it's narrow, but then when you're sitting, that's where it widens out. So then it spreads out the weight and allows it to be less pressure points, I guess. So I haven't installed. It was a very easy install. Probably took me 2 minutes to install, but I haven't had a chance to test it yet because I've been doing other stuff. But hopefully this weekend I will be able to find out if it's the real deal.
Do people drive their motorcycles there with their car? Is that typical for the BDR, or is it typical for people to ride on their motorcycles to and from the BDR?
So the BDR is meant for adventure motorcycles, which are more touring oriented motorcycles. So I think the expectation is people would ride to the beginning, but there's a lot of people that will go through tour companies, and the tour companies will trailer you down to the beginning as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good to know.
Yeah. So our plan, we're still kind of figuring it out, but our plan is that we're going to probably put our 2 bikes into Zach's Tacoma, drive the Tacoma down to the border, find a place to either park his Tacoma or potentially Zach's girlfriend might just ride with us and then drive the Tacoma back. And then from the Washington border, we'll ride down to the California border.
Okay.
And then obviously BDR back up on dirt roads. Yeah.
And
then coming back, we might even do Washington BDR section 1 because that goes from Hood River to like Packwood, because that's a pretty good ride. It's a very easy section. You can do it very quickly on a motorcycle, and then you can take some not so crazy highways from there back into Seattle.
Okay. Yeah, very cool.
Yeah,
how are you going to deal with dust on the trail? So chase lights was pretty mandatory for us this past weekend, and I can't imagine it getting any better. In fact, it's going to get worse.
Oh yeah.
For this summer. And so how do you guys deal with dust when you're on your bikes and stuff? Obviously the wind is taking off some of it. And then when you get off your bike, do you remove the dust somehow, or what do you do?
Well, as far as when we're riding it, I have aftermarket lights on my bike. I have a big nav tower, so they're really good for cutting through the dust. And then pretty much the norm for off-road riding is to have goggles on, and goggles are meant for dust because they have foam around the edges so that they breathe but also prevent the dust particles from getting in. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that's kind of the main thing. If it's really bad, potentially you can put your visor down. We do have visors. And then as far as getting it off, we're going to be in the Cascades, so there will be opportunities for us to wet our gear, and then it's going to be middle of July, so if we wet it, there's a good chance we'll be able to dry it off as well. But yeah, I mean, it's still going to be annoying.
Yeah.
That's I'm less concerned about dust in the air and more about sand on the ground than anything else, because sand is always my nemesis when riding.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Soft stuff. You don't know where your front tire is going to go sometimes because there's ruts underneath the sand and you can't see it. So it's just like you're riding like,
It's like the new snow wheeling. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
So what else?
Let's see. I made a backpacking meal. It was actually really good. It was like a Thai one, like a Thai curry backpacking meal. And I haven't done a backpacking meal in a while. And I just had this memory of them being bad, but it was actually very tasty. So it's like, okay. That's not so bad. And with the BDR, you are going through towns at the beginning and endings of sections. So you do have opportunities to get real food as well. But mixing in the backpacking meals wasn't too bad. I did realize that I had a water filter bag that I had in my day pack that I've had for ages. It's like a little 16 ouncer. I tried filling that with water and it just was kind of a joke. And yeah, so I actually found out that the Sawyer, which is the manufacturer, they offer different bag sizes. So I went online and bought a 64 ounce version of that. So that'll make it a lot easier to refill I have a gallon water bag that I'm going to use. I think the biggest one though that came up from this was that both of us felt that our tanks were too small. Dual sport motorcycles tend to come with about 2 gallons of fuel capacity on them, just as a standard, mostly because people just use them for day rides. But when you're doing longer form travel like a BDR, some of those sections are kind of long. In the Oregon BDR, the longest section is 135 miles. And I have tested mine. And when I'm doing pure trail riding, I can do 175 miles off of my 2-gallon tank, which is enough, but it's also stressful too. It's when you're like way low on the tank, and I don't like having fuel anxiety. So I wanted up that. Zach's, we actually on the way back, we tested to see when he ran out of fuel, and it ran out at 100 miles. So he was definitely not going to make it with his setup. Yeah. So we both ended up ordering aftermarket fuel tanks. We both went from about 2 gallons to 3.5 gallons. So that'll be a huge difference, having 50% more capacity, more than 50% more capacity on our rigs.
Wow.
Yeah.
What do you guys do about trash and stuff? How do you deal with that?
Well, you don't have a ton because you can only carry so much, right? So you don't have a whole lot of trash.
Right.
Yeah, but you're going through towns pretty much every day. On a bike, you expect to get about 150 miles a day of riding. So you can cover ground real fast. And so there's a fair amount of trash opportunities.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was curious about that.
Yeah. But yeah, for the most part, it was a good run. We had a good time, and we are both very excited to do that ride. This will be the first time I've actually doing a full BDR. I've done sections only of the Washington BDR at a time. I've never done the whole thing, so it'd be cool to do fingers crossed, do all of the Oregon BDR. We'll see what fire season has
if nature allows.
Yeah, exactly.
So how many people are going on your trip?
Right now, it's Zach and I for the whole thing, and then our friend Josh is going to join us for probably the second half of it. And then we might have others join us too, so we'll see.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, and then we'll try to reschedule Zach to be our guest after that ride so we can talk about the trip then. Yeah.
That would be great.
Absolutely. Okay, well, I think it's about that time. Mel, do you have any closing thoughts?
Why you said that so fast?
Because I didn't want you to jump in like last time and beat me to it.
I got you, and you remembered it.
I did.
Let's see. Closing thoughts. Well, I have a heavy one today, so I wanted to dedicate the episode to our friend Sid Callahan. He passed away when he was on holiday in Bozeman last week. And so I just wanted to give a shout out to him. He was a shining ray of light. So wanted to remember him on this episode.
Tough to lose the good ones.
I know, right? Well, that's all I had for today.
All right. Well, then let's call it a wrap.
If you want to get in touch with us by email, let us know what you think. remotetrailsradio@gmail.com.
RTR, over and out.